Nearly a full year into his second term, President Trump, after visiting a Ford auto plant in Michigan, declaring victory when it comes to the U.S. economy.
The results are in, and the Trump economic boom is officially begun.
But many Americans remain skeptical of the president's handling of the economy, and inflation, while down from its 2022 highs, remains roughly where it was when President Trump took office. The president also touting lower prices.
Grocery prices are starting to go rapidly down.
Eggs are down 35% over a year ago, and gas prices are at a 4-year low. But other staples have risen. Beef up 16%, coffee up 20%, and even candy 10% more expensive. In his Detroit speech, the president also ramping up his repeated attacks on Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, accusing him of keeping interest rates too high.
If I had the help of the Fed, it would be easier, but that jerk will be gone soon.
But bipartisan backlash is growing over the Justice Department's criminal investigation into Powell, focused on his June testimony before Congress about the years-long renovation of the central bank's Washington headquarters, where the price tag has soared from $1.9 billion to $2.5 billion, though not taxpayer money. Powell has accused the administration of using the investigation to pressure him, but the president has said he has nothing to do with it. Still, Democrats are condemning the move.
He's undermining the faith and credit of the United States of America.
Some Republicans also critical.
It looks like the Justice Department is being used as a weapon, and I don't want that to ever happen under any administration.
And the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, also warning in a call with reporters that the Justice Department's investigation of the Fed chair risks undermining independence and could ultimately push inflation higher. President Trump responding late Tuesday, criticizing Dimon's take and taking another swing at Powell, saying, I think it's fine what I'm doing. Laura?
All right, Peter at the White House, thank you.
For a bit more perspective on where the economy stands, let's bring in NBC's business correspondent Brian Cheung now. Brian is starting the day at the New York Stock Exchange. Brian, good morning. Big picture here, Brian, on a macro level, what can you tell us about where the economy is right now and where the economy may be headed based on some of the data we're seeing?
Yeah, good morning, Craig and Laura. We did get those updated government numbers showing that prices in America rose by 2.7% in December compared to a year prior. And as Peter explained, that also included household staples and groceries. In fact, grocery prices rising by 2.4% specifically over that yearly period. That is despite the president's efforts to offer these tariff exemptions for a number of food items in November, underscoring his focus on trying to improve affordability in this country. As for the Federal Reserve, despite all of the pressure, they again are targeting a 2% interest rate, or rather 2% inflation rate, not 2.7%. So for that reason, the Federal Reserve is unlikely to cut interest rates when their next meeting comes up in about 2 weeks.
So, Brian, you just mentioned those tariff exemptions. Speaking of tariffs, so we're waiting on this major Supreme Court ruling, possibly as early as today. What kind of economic impact could a decision against the Trump administration have with regard to tariffs?
Yeah, Craig, consumers, businesses, and investors like here at the New York Stock Exchange are watching very closely for what could be a major ruling from the high court in this country on tariffs. Again, what we're talking about here would be those country-specific tariffs that the president showed off on that poster board in that splashy Rose Garden announcement last April. Those were originally stood up under a 1977 law, but the Supreme Court is ruling whether or not the president had the legal authority to do so in the first place. You can imagine that if the Supreme Court ends up striking down those tariffs, that would be a major blow to the president's economic agenda. It could provide relief for Americans on goods like, for example, sporting goods, toys, as well as clothing. And it could also force the government to refund over $130 billion in tariff revenue back to businesses that paid them. Again, Wall Street watching this very closely as we do await what could be a possible Supreme Court decision as soon as later this morning. Craig.
Brian Cheung from the New York Stock Exchange for us. Brian, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.